This decision might surprise you, but I'm actually planning on cashing out all my Ethereum this cycle. I believe that Ethereum's best days might actually already be behind us. History is filled with first movers that dominated a market early but failed to stay on top. For example, Nokia, Yahoo, and Kodak. They created the market, but then second movers came in and offered better, faster, and cheaper solutions and left them in the dust. In this video, I'm going to break down why I believe Ethereum might be falling into this same trap, what I see happening in the crypto space right now, and why I am taking the bold decision to cash out my Ethereum later this bull market cycle. So stay around because this video might just reshape how you look at the crypto market right now. So before we dive in, make sure to hit that like button, subscribe to my channel, and just one quick disclaimer, nothing you see in this video is financial advice. I'm simply sharing my own opinion and beliefs based on my research, what I see happening in the market. Please do your own research, form your own assumptions about the market before making any financial decision, okay? Now, let's get started. Why I am selling all of my Ethereum this cycle. Let's go back in time. Ethereum was founded in 2013 by the Ethereum Foundation and Vitalik Buterin, the founder of Ethereum. Of course, he didn't do it alone. He formed a collective of very intelligent programmers that together formed the Ethereum Foundation. And since 2013, they started working on this protocol and started to add more features, started to build a community. At one point, they launched their token. And from that point onwards, they were the very first smart contract platform on the blockchain. So now that might sound like something with a lot of buzzwords. And if you've been following my channel for a while, I don't like buzzwords because especially in the crypto space, people use these buzzwords to sound super intelligent. But in reality, 95% of people have no clue what they're actually talking about when they're using these buzzwords. And in fact, very smart marketeers and project founders make use of this. So they create landing pages of crypto products. They plug in as many hyped up buzzwords as possible that people don't really understand, but it sounds very clever and intelligent and innovative. And then people just throw their money at it. That's the current state of the crypto market right now. Any case, I'm going to explain in very simple words what a smart contract platform means on the blockchain. So imagine that you have a programmable contract. I compare this to Lego blocks. So let's say that you want to build an application, a game, an exchange, or something different. What if I would hand you a box of Lego blocks? Of course, these Lego blocks are analogies for small pieces of code, which you can configure and you can click it on top of each other to create something very rapidly with really strong functionality. That's basically what Ethereum is. Ethereum offers a platform for people to really easily build applications on top of the blockchain. So, for example, decentralized exchanges, what I mentioned before, or games, or there's a bunch of different things out there which you can build on top of the blockchain. Now, that's really great. That really sparked a lot of innovation in the Web3 space. In case you don't know the difference between Web 1, Web 2, Web 3, let me briefly explain. So Web 1 was the days where we had very static internet pages. Then came Google and Yahoo, who indexed all of these individual websites. So they made it very easy to navigate all of these static pages on the internet. And then came Web 2. Web 2 is the age of user-generated content. So something that's very, something that really shows the Web 2 era, that's social media. So on social media, people create their own content. For example, Facebook, you write a post to let your friends and family members know what you're doing. On YouTube, you create tutorial videos like this one and you share it with the world. On Telegram, you message with people in communities around a particular topic. Discord, I don't know, that could be gaming communities, people playing games together, or crypto communities. There's many different examples of Web 2. And then Web 3, the problem that Web 3 solves is that many of these large companies from the Web 2 era, namely Facebook, Google, they own the platform, so they can censor people. They can tell you like, hey, this is not allowed, or we can even disable your account which you've built up over the past few years. And they're making all of this money from all of this advertisement while we are creating the content. So we're putting all of this effort in making content on their platform, and they're taking the biggest profits out of it. Now, the Web3 space solves this by creating decentralized applications, meaning that it's created by the community, for the community, and it can be owned by the community. So it takes the ownership and the control away from the large corporations. And Ethereum gave this Web3 revolution the building blocks to build those applications. So that's the most simple explanation that I can give you of Ethereum and its role within the Web3 ecosystem. Now you see that in the past 5 years, so we're looking at this time frame from a little bit earlier than 2020 until now, the end of 2024, you see that the number of transactions on Ethereum is almost constant. It has been around 1 million transactions per day, which is great. That's a lot of transaction volume. And during bull markets, you see some peaks. Earlier this year, there was also a lot of hype in the crypto space. So again, there was a small peak, but in general, it has been stagnated a little bit. Now that we're entering a bull market, it might go up a little bit, but for me, this is one sign that I'm missing a little bit of growth here when I'm looking at this chart. But we have something that we call layer 2 solutions, which we're going to discuss in a little bit. So that might also explain why this has been slightly constant for the past few years, but still impressive. 1.1, 1.2, 1.3 million transactions per day. That's really nice. So Ethereum is known for the fact that it has the largest developer community out there of all of the blockchains that are out there right now. So why is this important? Well, Ethereum was the first mover, and of course, first movers, they have a big advantage. There's no competition. We call this a blue ocean. They are the big whales swimming in the blue ocean. So they're swallowing up all of the talent, all of the investors, all of the innovators, and they're all building on top of Ethereum because that's the main solution that's available at that time. So I'm talking about a few years ago. And Ethereum even created its own programming language called Solidity. So all of these developers had to learn a new language. They had to be reschooled to write these smart contracts and to interface with the Ethereum blockchain. And this resulted in the fact that right now the most applications have been built on top of Ethereum. So we call that dApps, decentralized apps. Here are some examples: Uniswap, Aave, the tokenization. So BlackRock is actually launching a real-world asset tokenization fund, which they're going to build on top of Ethereum to tokenize real-world assets. And also, Ethereum researchers, so Ethereum team members, has surged with 2,100% since 2019. So again, that's a great sign that there's still a lot of people that are interested in learning and improving the Ethereum blockchain. So those are good signs. It has a first mover advantage, but there are some problems. I don't know if you're new to crypto, but if you've been around in the crypto space for a while, you know that in periods of hype or bull markets, actually Ethereum can be very slow. It can be very costly. It's not uncommon that you're paying 50 to $100 to send Ethereum or an Ethereum token from one wallet to another wallet. And it can also take quite some time, you know. Sometimes it can even take 30 minutes, 1 hour, a few hours. If you're really cheap and you're putting the lowest gas fee that you can select, well, then you're gonna wait a few hours. I even had a scenario where I didn't understand gas fee, so I selected the lowest possible gas fee, and my transaction took a few days even. So I was completely in panic. I had to ask some friends to trace the payment because I thought I lost the money, but that's a rookie mistake. But in general, Ethereum can be quite costly and slow. So That's when we saw the layer 2 solution. I'm not going to dive too much into details about these layer 2 solutions, but I want to give you the general idea of what these layer 2 solutions do. So what layer 2 solutions do is they're building on top of Ethereum to make Ethereum better, faster, and cheaper. These projects, which you're seeing over here, and these are just a few of them which are out there. There's a lot of layer 2 solutions, but they have identified the fact that it's probably a lot smarter to build on top of Ethereum or to ride the Ethereum wave, because there's already one of the biggest developers communities out there which are building on top of Ethereum. So if you can't beat them, join them. That's the philosophy of layer 2. So you've got different types of layer 2 solutions: ZK rollups, optimistic rollups, sidechains, plasmas, state channels, whatever. And I could make a whole separate video about how each of these layer 2 solutions work, but that's not the point of this video. I just want you to understand that imagine having an accident and you're wounded. What these layer 2 solutions do is they put a band-aid on the wound. They make a problem less bad. And the underlying problem is that Ethereum is quite expensive and can be very slow. So that's a problem with Ethereum. And this is an intermediary solution. And of course, Ethereum is run by the Ethereum Foundation, which is a centralized entity which rolls out a lot of really great updates for Ethereum. Ethereum has evolved a lot ever since it was launched. They constantly come up with Ethereum improvement proposals to make Ethereum better and to solve fundamental problems. And I want you to realize that if you look at this developer community or all of these people that are involved and all of these applications that are being on top, some of the most intelligent people right now are working on top of Ethereum. So trust me, the community is very strong. They're contributing a lot. They're pulling in even more talented people, and they want their project to succeed. But there is also other options out there. What I mentioned in the introduction of this video, the fact that a company is a first mover doesn't mean that it will stay the dominant player in the market forever. In fact, there is more evidence and data showing that first movers will not be the dominant players over the long term. And we're going to discuss a few examples in a bit. But one of the challengers, and I've made a video about this in the past, Ethereum versus Solana, one of the challengers of Ethereum is right now Solana. Solana is a blockchain that can be better, faster, and cheaper, and has the same smart contract functionality that Ethereum offers. And as a result, Solana has experienced a really great run-up already in this bull market cycle, which is still early. And I believe that is also because many people in the space understand the potential that this project has. Solana is not the only challenger of Ethereum. I believe right now, since we are a few bull markets after Ethereum's launch, other projects and intelligent people within the space have had the time to analyze Ethereum, find its flaws, and to come up with better solutions. But yeah, the dominant one that's dominating the narrative right now of the Ethereum killer is still Solana. Now, whether you believe that Solana can perform a lot better than Ethereum, that it's better, faster, and cheaper, that's up to you. I highly recommend you to do your own research. There's also videos out there on YouTube which claim the exact opposite. I need to be open and honest. I've done a lot of research in the crypto space, and I've found green flags and red flags about Solana. There's also a lot of content and videos out there which claim that Solana is a fraudulent blockchain and that not all of the data or all of the transactions that are reported or shown are real, real transaction volume. Some of it is fabricated to ramp up the numbers to make it seem a lot better than it actually is. But I believe right now Solana is in a really great position. They have a really strong team, really strong community. A lot of applications are already moving to Solana. So now I want to talk about the first mover versus the second or third movers. I want to show you a few examples. And the reason why I want to show you these examples is if you want to be a great investor, I believe that there's a very big similarity between playing the game of chess and playing the game of investing. Let me explain. There's a book called Your Next 5 Moves from 𝗵𝗵𝗀𝗵𝗵𝗵. And in this move, he explains that chess grandmasters think many moves ahead, 7, 10, 15 moves ahead. Every single turn, they can visualize the next 15 to 20 turns. Whereas the average person can't even think one move ahead. Now, what I want to show you is I want to help you to think a few moves ahead in this whole crypto space. And here on this on my screen, you see Magnus Carlsen, which is a Norwegian chess grandmaster, super intelligent guy. Here you see him looking at the chessboard, and he's visualizing his path to victory. But in order to achieve that victory, he also needs to anticipate how the other chess pieces on the board are moving. So let's look at a few interesting examples. When I went to elementary school, when I was 8, 9, 10, 11 years ago, not 11 years ago, when I was 11 years old or 10 years old, I was walking to my elementary school. It was like a 10, 15-minute walk. And my parents gave me this mobile phone. They said, Mitchell, if something ever happens to you, here is a mobile phone. Just call us, just text us, and we are available. This is how we can communicate. I wasn't the only kid at elementary school that had this mobile phone. I think everyone in my class at one point had this phone. We were all playing Snake on our phone. We were completely addicted. Let me know in the comments below if you were also playing Snake on this Nokia phone. And if you also had this Nokia. I believe it was 6610, Nokia 6610, whatever. And then when I went to high school, we had the first smartphones. Or, yeah, I don't know if it's the first smartphone, but the BlackBerry really became a hype. It was like a computer in your phone. It had this keyboard, and it had BlackBerry Messenger, where you could text people for free instead of paying your provider. So there was a lot of really cool functionality. And suddenly everybody at my high school had a BlackBerry. And I thought, all right, this is the standard. In fact, it got to the point that if you didn't have a BlackBerry at my high school, then you weren't a cool kid. I mean, I'm pretty sure that every single kid at my high school begged their parents for a BlackBerry phone at their birthday. You know, you had to have one. They were the primary leader at that point in time in the mobile phone space. If you came to school with an Android, I think people would make so much fun of you. Or with a Samsung phone, again, they would make fun of you. You weren't part of the cool crowd. But now, many years later, let's have a look at who dominates the smartphone market. Apple, Samsung, Xiaomi. By a large lead, Apple and Samsung lead the market. So they have almost 50% of the market share. Now, this is the first example that I wanted to show you, that a first mover, so Nokia, first mobile phone that became very dominant, and then the first smartphone, in my experience, that became really dominant. They were first movers in their particular sub-markets, but they did not manage to maintain that dominant position because Apple and Samsung simply looked at what they were doing really well and what they weren't doing well, and they learned from their flaws and came up with a product that's better, faster, cheaper. In the case of Apple, it was not cheaper. Apple phones are super expensive. They keep on getting more expensive with only a small improvement of the camera, but that's just a different story. It became better. It became more user-friendly. That's how Apple started to gain market share. Now, who remembers the days of the Kodak camera? So you could go to the shop, you could buy one of these disposable cameras. You had to scroll to charge it or to whatever. I don't even know why you had to scroll it. It was probably to move the film so that you could record it on the next part of the film. But you could take pictures and then you could go to the shop and you can get these pictures printed. So Kodak was the dominant player in the market of photography. They even branded a slogan, a Kodak moment. Like it became a thing. Like if you would take a picture at a really beautiful scenery you would call that a Kodak moment. Now, where is Kodak right now? Interesting question. Well, let's have a look. Is Kodak still a market leader? No. Canon is leading the market. They own 46.5% of the market share. Sony 26%, Nikon 11%, Fujifilm's 5.8%. So Kodak is nowhere to be found in these top 3, top 5. So again, a first mover that is not leading the charts anymore. Now let's talk about Yahoo. I'm not sure if you know this or not, but Yahoo was one of the first dominant search engines. And then a company called Google came. And they became faster, better, and cheaper. Well, they're actually free for you as a user to use. But Yahoo got completely destroyed by Google. And Google is now leading. So if we look at the search engine market share worldwide, you see Google is leading by far, 95%, 94%. Then Bing, Yandex, Yahoo, Baidu, and other, they make just a few percent. So Google is the dominant player. They were not the first mover. Maybe you didn't know this. They were the second mover, third mover. But at least they weren't the first mover. And yet they are dominating right now. So are you seeing the trend? Mobile phones, photography, search engines. Let me give you another example. And this might actually cause a lot of resistance. I know many of you are fans of Elon Musk. I completely admire Elon Musk. I have so much respect for Elon Musk, all of the things that he's doing. I think he's one of the brightest people in the world, and so much of our society's development is on his shoulders right now. He's going to take us to Mars. Hopefully, he is going to help us to transition to a more green, energy sustainable future. And he was one of the first big players to pioneer electrical cars with his company Tesla. So for the past few years, 10 plus years, Tesla has invested a lot of resources, time, energy, money into research and development, creating this market, educating consumers. But let's have a look right now. Who is leading the charts in terms of most popular EV manufacturers? So Tesla is the dark one. So it started in 2021. 2021. It was definitely fun. With 21% market share. Then slowly over time, or not really, then it dropped to 18%, went up to 19%. Now in 2024, they have around 17% of the market share. But if you look at the second and third, they make up 16% and 7% of the market. So if you add those up, that's around 23% of the market. And that's BYD Group and SAIC Group. Both of these are Chinese EV producers. So soon you see the trend. They started with 7% and they went up with 7, 13, 17, 16. They're starting to take up more of the market share compared to Tesla. So yes, Tesla was a market mover, but how many Chinese companies actually do it is they look at what is working really well in the West or in the States, and they simply analyze that product or service, and they try to make a better, faster, cheaper version of that. That is the Chinese model. So that is, yeah, many of the products that they've created and have become very successful have followed that particular model. So Elon Musk, I have so much respect for you, but the fact that you are that you are a first mover, if someone would ask me the question right now, do you believe 100% sure that Tesla will be around in 100 years from now? I would not be able to answer that question because I'm seeing these trends. You know, first movers are not always the dominant players in the market. In fact, there's a lot more data to argue the opposite. And that's why I'm also arguing that I believe that Ethereum's best days might be behind us. That's based on my own research, my own perspective. Again, it might be possible that Ethereum is gonna still have a massive run up. I'm still very bullish on Ethereum, this crypto bull market cycle, but I'm talking about the future. I have a long-term investment horizon. Usually I like to invest in stuff and I want to hold it over the long term. I want to accumulate more and hold it over the long term. And at this point, I am not sure, or I am starting to become more confident that I don't want to hold Ethereum for the long term. Maybe in a few years from now, I might be looking back at this video and I would tell myself that I was an absolute stupid person for making this claim. And that's why you need to make a decision for yourself too. Please don't blindly follow what I'm saying in this video. I'm curious to hear your thoughts and perspective in the comments below. I do want to cover this part as well, because Bitcoin is, according to many people, also a first mover. And it's totally right. Bitcoin is a first mover in the crypto industry. It was the first project to be launched in 2009 in this whole crypto revolution. So is Bitcoin also doomed to fail? Well, I believe that Bitcoin is not a first mover. Yes, it's a first mover in the crypto space, but the actual thing or actual asset that Bitcoin is competing with is gold. Gold has been seen as the go-to store of value for many centuries. The Incas, the Mayas, the Aztecs, the Spanish Empire, the Dutch Empire, the British Empire, they were all holding massive amounts of gold. Even the US is holding massive amounts of gold right now because it's still seen as a very strong asset, which is great to protect against inflation. But when you analyze the properties of gold and you compare it with Bitcoin, you see many similarities. There's a lot of scarcity, limited supply, and in a world where almost everything can be printed out of thin air, or more stocks can be issued, more houses can be built, more watches can be manufactured, people are searching for stuff with a limited fixed supply because they know that when the money supply increases, they are better off putting their money into something with a fixed supply. Now, gold offered that option. But gold is very impractical because let's say that you are a very wealthy person and you have many kilos of gold and suddenly World War III breaks out, or it's chaos, it's mayhem in the world, and you have been told that gold is a safe haven in times of turmoil. So you take all of your gold bars and you go across the street, or you take your car or motorbike or whatever, and you want to convert your gold bars into groceries or cash. It's very unsafe because if people know that you are hoarding a lot of gold, then they're going to try to rob you, to take your gold away from you. With Bitcoin, that's not possible. You put it on a wallet, on a ledger, and people don't necessarily know that you're carrying this USB stick, or in fact, you don't even need to carry it. You can just memorize the seed phrase in the most extreme scenario. And you could travel the whole world without people knowing it. So if you would bring a few kilos of gold with you in an airplane, trust me, the customs of the country that you're traveling to is going to stop you, and you need to probably declare it and pay taxes. You could travel the whole world with Bitcoin. Nobody's going to stop you or know that you're even taking it. So it's a lot safer and secure. In addition to that, the gold industry is very highly manipulated. There's loads of cases where banks and large institutions have been fined for manipulating the gold market. Bitcoin, on the other hand, is completely open and transparent. Everything that's happening on the blockchain, you can see it. And it has been created from the purpose of anti-fraud. And that's the most beautiful thing about Bitcoin. It cannot be tampered with. So I believe that Bitcoin is a second mover, which is completely disrupting this asset class, gold, which has been the primary store of value. So that's why I'm still extremely bullish on Bitcoin. And that's also why many of the large institutions are now buying up loads of Bitcoin. BlackRock is buying up Bitcoin. MicroStrategy is buying up Bitcoin. Every single day we're hearing about a new publicly traded company which is buying up Bitcoin. Countries are getting into Bitcoin. Bhutan is mining Bitcoin. El Salvador is mining Bitcoin. All of these players are realizing the same thing. Bitcoin is here to stay. I'm hearing very few stories like this about Ethereum. Yes, Ethereum was the first mover, but maybe it's time that it's going to be disrupted. And do I want to be the one holding the bag when something better comes up and takes over their position? You always need to be paranoid, and you always need to be on the lookout whether your positions are still valid and whether you still hold strong conviction in those positions. So that was my thesis of why I am probably going to sell all of my Ethereum later this bull market cycle. And I'm really curious to hear your thoughts in the comments below. And if you got good value out of this video, then make sure to smash that like button. And if you haven't done so yet, also make sure to subscribe to my channel, because I'm going to be posting regular videos like this one to help you to get an edge in the market and to help you to maximize your gains, both in this cycle and the cycles to come. All right, peace out. I'll see you in the next one. Take care.